Hello, trainer. Welcome to this video today. So today is on Wednesday, and as usual, I do come here to give you an update on what we did on our previous video that is on Sunday. So if this is your first time that we have landed to this channel, so feel at the right place. So my name is Anthony, and I do dedicate my time here to come you and help you on how to analyze the market, for you to be able to do that on your own and avoid depending on the signals and stuff like that. So without wasting time, let's dive into the market and see what the market has to offer. So I have few pairs with me that I would like to give you an update, starting with the Euro USD. So if you don't understand how we did this one, so on our previous video we did a thorough analysis on this one. So I'm not going to explain all what we did. I'm just going direct to what I'm watching currently and what I anticipate from this market. So since we saw this change of character here from the daily time frame, that one changed our bias from bullish to bearish, and you have been looking to sell Euro USD. So since we got this lower low here, so we went to the higher time frame, that is weekly time frame, and that is where we mark this order block from the weekly time frame, or you can call it a supply zone. So we have this weekly order block here. So that is what I marked as my order block, and I went back to daily and we refined this one together here on our previous session. So we refined the order block and we arrived to that point. So since then we have been seeing the Euro USD reacted or respected that zone, because you can't see a candle closing above it. So what did it did? Just swept liquidity above this high, and since then it has been selling from that area. So if I go to the 4 hour time frame, what do you see? You can see from the 4 hour time frame, this was the last break of structure to the upside. I remember showing you that. And now you can see the market was already broken this low. So we have this break of this low to the downside. So giving us a change of character. That is to show us that the market is really respecting the 4 hour swing structure. Not 4 hour, but the daily swing structure, which is this change of character, and the 4 hour swing has already given us a change of character. That is to show that the 4 hour is now currently aligning with the daily swing after reacting from this daily order block. So now it is right time that you should be looking for selling opportunity, since now we have that confirmation to sell. But now we can't just start selling randomly, so we have to look for an area for us to look for that entry. So if I pick my fib, I place from this swing high to this swing low, assuming now this is our swing low. So that means what? This is where we have equilibrium. So we are supposed to mark any point of interest that is resting above the 50%. So if you get a point of interest that is resting here, then that becomes our point of interest that we should be watching our market from. So if I go to the daily, I want to mark my point of interest from the daily time frame. So if I have to mark my order block, this becomes my order block. The last buy candle before the sale to come and break this low, or to give you a change of character here to the downside. So meaning this is my order block, right? So now I can go down to the 4 hour. When I go to the 4 hour, I'm going to refine my zone. So when I refine, I need to identify the point of interest that is within this weekly supply zone, or this weekly order block. So that means not weekly, but the daily, sorry. So we'll have this extreme order block there, and you also have this order block around this area. So this becomes my 2 point of interest that I'm currently watching on Euro USD. I'm really waiting for the Euro USD to come to this point of interest before looking for any entry confirmation to take myself. Because if I pick my fib from here to here, you can see now currently we are at the discount, right? So we are currently at the discount. So we need the market to come to the premium before we look for any entry. But from what we can see currently, the market has not yet shown us intention of coming for a pullback, because if you look closely from the 4 hour time frame, we can see very clearly that we have this break of structure to the downside. So for me, I also took a loss around this area. If I can show you, there is an entry that I took yesterday, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. Okay, so here was the entry. I think it was coming from the 15 minutes time frame, right? So you can see we had a sweep of this high and then a push to break this low. So market came to this order block here. You see this supply zone around this area, and I went to 5 minutes time frame to wait for my confirmation as usual. And I saw a very good confirmation. You can see we have a sweep, a break, and then a change of character. And then I marked this order block here. That is was my entry. Stop loss was above here. So it was a very beautiful trade actually. And unfortunately, the market came back and took me out, and I ended up getting a loss on that entry. So for this month and of late, we have been seeing the market has been moving crazy, guys. So that one was my setup on Euro USD, and unfortunately ended up being a loss. Although yesterday I recovered this, I took a trade on BTC. When I will be analyzing the BTC, I will show you that. So that was the analysis on Euro USD. It was a very good analysis, and this was a very it's a good loss to me. It's a good loss because I followed all my rules. I waited for confirmation, only that the market had other plans. Okay. So now we continue with where we were on Euro USD. What am I watching or what am I anticipating on this pair? All right, let's go there. So since now we have this break of structure here to the downside, let me go to 1 hour. I want to show you clearly. So from the 1 hour time frame, you can see we have this liquidity. We have the sweep of that eye and then a push to break this low. Okay, so that means what? Now we have a very strong break of structure, meaning this is my change of character. This is my protected eye, and this is my break of structure. Okay, assuming now this is our low, what do we need to see? We place our fib from high to low. What do we expect? We expect the market to come to the premium, and then we look for entries around this area. So for me, this eye here, whatever is this eye that you can see here, that is my liquidity. So this is an inducement to me, and also this eye is an inducement. So I have this 1 hour order block that is resting here. If I go to 4 hour, okay, you can see from the 4 hour that we have a very nice fair value gap below this zone. So here in the 4 hour time frame, this is what we call an hidden zone. So we have an hidden order block around this area from this time frame. We have an overlapping wicks, which is another type of a point of interest that is hidden from this time frame. Okay, but when you go to the 1 hour, you can see we have a very nice order block from that area. So this is where I will be watching the Euro USD. So if we come around this area and we get our confirmation from either 5 minutes or 15 minutes time frame, I will be taking my sales to the downside. If for instance, the market will come and violate this high, that will confirm to us now this 4 hour swing pullback has begun, right? If we get a break of structure of this high, that will tell us that the 4 hour swing pullback has begun, and then this is where we'll be waiting for the Euro USD to come to before we look for any selling opportunity. All right, so that's my analysis on Euro USD. Let's look at GBP. So for me, for the GBP USD, I don't have anything good as at now. So this point of interest remain to be my point of interest as at now. I'm still anticipating for this pair to come here, sweep this liquidity, react from this area, and then we continue selling. So my bias on GU on Euro USD is still bearish, guys. I will be watching to see if the market will come to this area and give me the whatever I want to see before looking for any entry to the downside. All right, so the next pair is NAS 100. We analyze this pair here together, and as usual, guys, I normally tell you my people that always prefer waiting for the confirmation, my people. So assuming now since now I gave this analysis here, assuming you took this entry aggressively, you didn't wait for confirmation, that means you could have been stopped out, because I assume you will have placed your entry there, stop loss and few pips there, and then you target this high. And you see, unfortunately, market swept this low and swept those people who took their entries early. Okay, this is why I don't like taking aggressive entries. So you ended up losing that entry. For me, that I like to wait for confirmation. I'm not yet still in. I'm still waiting for. I'm watching this market, and I don't like this kind of reaction that we are getting after market sweeping this liquidity. I wanted to see a very sharp momentum. I wanted to see a very good momentum coming from this area, since the market has swept this liquidity, right? And we are reacting from extreme point of interest. So I expect to see good momentum coming into the market. But when I look at this, I can see that currently this pair seems to be consolidating. So we are consolidating. So unless we see a very nice breakout to the upside and a pullback and another good structure, or a good momentum going to the upside, I won't consider trading this one, because what is happening, market might come and sweep this high and then react from somewhere here. Because if I go to 15, let's check. If you go to the 15 minutes time frame, you can see we have a very tiny fair value gap around this area. We have a very nice small tiny fair value gap here. So what can happen, market can use this high, because since this one is also above the Asia high, so market can use this one as liquidity, then come react from this area, and then you continue selling. Because looking at this one, for this one looks to be that the buyers are really very weak and they are really struggling to push this market to the upside. In contrary, that we are reacting from this extreme point of interest, and the market has already swept this low. So we needed to see a very good momentum coming from that area. But unfortunately, the market is really very weak. So I have to consider my option, and if I get this change of character here, I might not look for a buy at the moment. So maybe if the market will break this high, or it gives a very good breakout or very good momentum, a convincing momentum to the upside. But as at now, I'm still watching this area. Structure wise, this is what I'm currently having. So I need to see the break of this high, and then I will wait for a pullback and also look for another confirmation before I buy, because I know for a fact this one market might be coming for this high to sweep liquidity and then continue selling. So that is my analysis on this pair. So I have a highs on this, and also if I get a confirmation, a very good confirmation, I might also send to my Telegram channel, or I might come here again and make another video. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure you do so, and don't forget to turn on the notifications bell so that you'll be notified immediately I upload a new video. So if you want to learn more about how to do this one-on-one with me, I do run a private mentorship. So find the link on the description of this video. The charges for the mentorship is also mentioned on the description of this video. So if you wanna join, then you can link me on WhatsApp and I will guide you on how to get started. So let's move on to the next pair. I have NAS US 30, sorry. So from the 4 hour time frame, I'm still waiting for the NAS 100 to come to this area. This is still my point of interest. Whatever is happening, I still think that the market is trying to induce the early buyers to get into the market, only to come back and take them out, and then we continue buying to the upside. So keep watching on this area. So this also remains to be my point of interest. So have eyes on this area, and also don't forget, once the market comes to the area, always prefer to wait for a confirmation. So moving on to the next pair, we have Euro GBP. I also dropped this setup on my Telegram channel last night, and I told the traders there that they should be if you don't get a good confirmation, no entry, right? So we should be looking for a very good confirmation around this area, and the market has been consolidating from this zone since last night. You can see if you go to the 15 minutes time frame, you can see the market is not really moving. We are just consolidating within this area. So I need to see buyers coming into this market before taking any action to buy, because I can see the sellers are really dying. You can see the sellers are really dying within this area. If the bulls wants to get in now, they should have a very good momentum coming to the going up to the upside, because we are coming towards the start of New York. Maybe we'll see a very good reaction from there. When we break this high, that is when I will make my decision either to start looking for that entry confirmation. But as at now, I'm still watching for this pair. If by any means, if by any means, the market pushes down and closes with a 1 hour candle below this low. If you see 1 hour candle closing below this zone, then that means this setup has been violated. So you don't look for any other buying opportunities, because that means we'll have a change of character to the downside. Okay. So if you have a 1 hour candle closing, then you change your bias. But if it's just a week, then that means the setup still remains to be are valid. Okay, so that is it on this pair. I also have USDCHF. So USDCHF, I remember dropping this setup here on our last video that we did, or analysis that we did last week, and I had marked my one daily order block, which is this order block here. Then I was telling you guys I will be looking to sell once the market comes to this area. You can see the market is already inside this zone, which I refined from the 4 hour. And when you refine, you are going to land yourself on this order block. The last buy before the sell momentum, that becomes your order block. So currently, the market is sitting around that area. If I watch the market from the 15 minutes time frame, currently I expect to see more push to this zone because the market has just swept liquidity above this area. So structure wise, the current structure that is in control for me, uh so this is the last BOS here. So this is the last BOS. If you go to 1 hour, you can see very clearly that this is my last breakout structure to the upside. So if I have to make a decision to take a sell, because we are inside the daily zone, guys, don't forget we are currently inside this daily order block. So the best time frame to wait for a confirmation is always the 1 hour time frame. And when I look at the 1 hour time frame, this is my last break of structure to the upside. So what do I need to see? I need to see a break of this low to confirm to me that the market is respecting this daily supply zone. So once I see that, I look for my entry area within this pullback, and then I will target my low. This becomes the next draw of liquidity. So this is where the next liquidity that is resting on this low, which is our sell side liquidity. So once you see that, now start looking for that entry confirmation. But as at now, guys, you just stay away from the market and watch it from the distance and see what the market will really do. So we also did this analysis together here, guys. Uh, that is on Sunday. So I was telling you guys to wait to look for my buying opportunities around this area. If you capitalized on this area, this analysis, then that means you made some very good amount of money from this setup. It was a very good setup, and you can see the market really respected the zone. Actually, the target was supposed to be this supply zone here. So for me, I never took this trade. Okay, so the trade that I took yesterday, it was on BTC. So let's go to the next pair, which is going to be the BTC, and then we are going to finish with gold. So this is the trade that I took on BTC. Let me start from the 4 hour. So from the 4 hour time frame, you can see very clearly I have this breakout structure to the upside, right? And then maybe someone might ask me, why did you take the sales? And then you can see the market was already inside the supply zone. Guys, I was just observing the momentum of the candles because I saw the same thing happened around this area when the market was around this area here. So what happened? Market gave this fake change of character. Later on, crashed down before coming up. So it is the same thing. You can see the market gave this break of structure. It failed to break this high and then uh, started coming down. So for me, when the market was coming down, I knew very well that there is a chance that the market will not come to this area. So what I did, I targeted a supply zone that I'm going to show you shortly on this area. We had a 15 minutes supply zone, and that was where my target was. And you can see the market reacted from there, and we are currently buying. So what is my bias on this pair? Because of this break of structure to the upside, and the market is currently reacting from this order block or this demand zone, which obviously is sitting at the discount. You can see that one very clearly. We are within the discount, and then we have all the reason now to start looking for buying opportunity. Okay, so that means we are supposed to go to the 15 minutes time frame and watch the market from there. If I look at the 15 minutes time frame, I can see this was my last BOS, which is a strong BOS since we had this internal liquidity being swept before market coming down to break this low. So this is why I took this entry. So we have this order block here. We have this 15 minutes order block, the last buy before the sale. That is always how I mark my order block. All right. So, and if you look at the kind of momentum that we are getting after the market reacting from here, you can see we are having a very good selling momentum to the downside, and the market gave us an internal change of character, and that was my confirmation You see, we had a small change of character here. We had this was my last break, then a change of character. And also, when you look at this pullback when the market was coming to this zone, you can see that the bulls or the buyers are really struggling to push this market up. So that is what made me took this sell from that area. I didn't have a limit order, so I took an instant execution when the market was around this area. My stop loss, as always, it's above this high. That is where my stop loss was. So my target, let me go to 15. So my target was this supply zone here. That is where I exited from because I knew for a fact market can come to this area and then we continue buying. Since don't forget that we are still sitting at the 4 hour supply 4 hour demand zone, sorry. So that is where I exited from. It was around 1 is to 3. Very beautiful setup. Market came, reacted from there, and we are currently buying from there. So what am I anticipating or what am I watching on this pair? Okay, so from now, this is what I want to see. I need to see market breaking this high from the 1 hour time frame. If we close above this high, that will become my confirmation now that the market is really respecting this demand zone and the market might be ready to start going up. So once we close, assuming now the market will continue buying and close above this area, then this is going to be your demand zone. Or this is where you are supposed to look for your entries, and always make sure that uh if you are not going to put if you are not going to wait for another confirmation around this area, make sure your stop loss is going to be sitting below this low. Okay, and then your target should be the swing high. So that is where your final target should be, and this is going to make this trade to be 1 is to 6 risk to reward trade, which is also a very good trade. But until we break this high, this setup is invalid, guys. Okay, until we see a 1 hour candle closing above here, so that means this setup is still invalid. Okay, so last of all is going to be gold. Let's look at the gold. So from our analysis that we did last time, where are we anticipating the gold? Since the gold was near this low, we were anticipating gold maybe to have a small pullback to come to this support zone here, or this resistance zone here, reacts from here, and then we sell. But unfortunately, gold had other plans, so just swept this high, came down, and gave us a break of structure to the downside. So what are we supposed to do? As usual, we mark our point of interest. From this time frame, I can see I have a very nice order block here. This is the last indecision candle, which led to this break of structure to the downside. So that becomes my point of interest on gold. If you go to 1 hour, you can really see that this is a very good structure. We see this eye swept this all this internal liquidity before pushing to give us a break. So now that means this becomes a very nice order block around this area. We have liquidity below it, and if we measure from our fib, we can see very clearly that the pure high is resting at the premium. So what I need to see, once the market comes here, I will also go to the 15 minutes or the 5 minutes time frame, but more so 15. Wait for a good change of character around this area and then you sell. Because don't forget that the market might still violate the zone. Come to this area here. If this area will go is going to fail, then we have this extreme point of interest around that area. So we have to be very careful because nowadays the market is moving very funny and we need a very good confirmation before taking any entry. Because nowadays I've seen that the market, first of all, it's sweeping the liquidity first before starting to move. And it also can decide to sweep twice or thrice. So what you need a very good confirmation before you enter. So that is it for today's, guys. I don't know what you think about this analysis. Maybe you can tell me on the comment section which pair are you watching and what is your bias on that pair. So until next time, guys, it's a bye bye for now.